Hopefully my moderators are in the room. Got our moderators in here? This is one of the songs I requested for at the conference. I'm gonna let everybody know we're live. How many of y'all remember that song? That's church right there, man. All right, I'm gonna let everybody know that we're live here on Facebook. I'm gonna let my Facebook folks know I'm live here. 1 second. And if our God is with us, what can stand against? All right. All right. Let everybody know we live here. This is one of the songs we're going to sing at the conference. It's going to be awesome. All right, everybody. As y'all know, President Donald Trump was airlifted to a military hospital. And I believe that's military was because he does not trust a regular hospital. He doesn't trust a regular hospital. I think a lot of these people who has attempted this coup against the president are maybe trying to take advantage of this situation. You understand what I'm saying? There are some people that are very devious, and there are some people who are working closely with China, working closely with the UN, who would prefer John Biden being there so that they can move forward with the one world order. But trust me, I believe President Donald Trump has been appointed by God, and there's nothing going to succumb this man, nothing. If this is the first time he's getting the coronavirus, it means that his immune system is very strong, and there's nothing to be alarmed about. At first, I'm going to be honest with you. At first, I thought it was just a faulty test. That is until he went to the hospital. Then I realized that, yes, he may have some symptoms or whatever, and it's worth a prayer. All right? And we're going to pray for President Donald Trump before I move on into our studies. All right, we're going to be studying tonight. I want to talk to y'all about why this abortion stuff has been so much of a strong subject and why they want President Donald Trump to wait, because they're going to try to steal the election and put somebody in there themselves, but they want abortion, and there's a strong reason why. And one of the reasons why there is a lot of violence in the land and in our country is because of innocent blood, and there's a spirit released, of violence released on the land where there is an unsolved murder. And I'm going to show y'all that tonight. I'm definitely going to show y'all tonight. You can make a donation to Pastor Jerome Ministries and support the ministries. I am working on getting some T-shirts and stuff that way people can support. All right. But President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania, I think she stayed home. If I was her, I would have went with the president to the hospital. I think that would have been a very important move, just so you can watch over the president, you know. And another thing that came out was a phone call with her and a so-called friend. And the lady released it where Melania was talking about the people at the border, which she thought that she was actually hurting Melania when she did that. But actually, that just made me appreciate her more, actually, because I feel the same way. If those kids are coming at that border and they're breaking the law and they got them in those cages over there, really, they built those cages to separate them and protect them from the men who had been raping them the whole way here. They was raping those girls. And they get here and they get video games and money and food and a bed to sleep in and all that kind of stuff. You know, so those little phone calls are nothing. All right? And what y'all should be aware of, you got to watch out for these October surprises. Because remember, in 2016, it was when they came out with that October surprise with President Donald Trump and the Hollywood tape. Y'all go ahead and push the like button. Push the like button and share the video, because we're going to get into some major teaching tonight. It's going to be a blessing to you. It's going to be some major teaching tonight in this book. All right. But President Donald Trump went to a military hospital, and don't go to a regular hospital. Don't trust these doctors. As a matter of fact, I was watching President Donald Trump get out of the helicopter. I'm one of his followers on Twitter. Let me see here. Let y'all hear this video. I'm one of President Donald Trump's followers on Twitter. And I want y'all to hear his 19 seconds.
I'm going to Walter Reed Hospital.
Listen up.
I want to thank everybody for the tremendous support. I'm going to Walter Reed Hospital. I think I'm doing very well, but we're going to make sure that things work out. The First Lady is doing very well. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. I will never forget it. Thank you. I want to thank everybody.
So I went to her Twitter account, and she hadn't tweeted since sometime in April. It's been a while. She's not a daily tweeter like President Donald Trump. But President Donald Trump is in good spirits. He looks strong. He doesn't look frail or tired or anything. I think this is mostly just for precautionary measures. You know, if your nose starts to run, Mr. President, we need you, buddy. We need you. We need the president. We need Donald Trump. And God knows we need him. And that's why I'm not concerned about nothing happening to him as far as him leaving this earth right now. Because President Donald Trump is a man with a purpose and an assignment by God. So he's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. But what this is going to do now, from what I'm looking at, this is going to give greater credibility to the virus. And this is going to give them greater credibility when it comes down to the lockdown. They're going to try to lock everything down again. And the closer we get to November, it's going to be more lockdowns and so-called deaths and COVID cases and all this, right? So what I do like is that people are being a little civil. You have people, senators and different ones being civil, except for Nancy Pelosi, because she's talking about being the next in power. She's an idiot. She is a real idiot. And a dude named Michael Moore, y'all know Michael Moore, the little filmmaker, the heavyset guy. Yeah, Michael Moore, who looks like he's about 3 Twinkies and a glass of extra sweet Kool-Aid away from 480. And he got the nerve to attack the president. Y'all go ahead and like. Y'all go ahead and like. I can't see any conversations in here. All right. Now, tonight, I want to talk to y'all about why abortion is so big with these people. All right? And I want to share with y'all how God views this. Because really, an abortion is an unsolved murder. And the reason why I say it's unsolved is because the people who perpetrated the murder have gotten away without being punished. And therefore, there is a spirit of vengeance and violence that is loosed in the world. And in particular, in the cities where the murders are taking place, where there is a spirit of violence taking place in cities where the unsolved murder are taking place. And it's very important that we solve these unsolved murders. And I'm glad that we have a president who is dealing with that. And this is why in America and around the world, this subject of abortion is one of the key things. Because for one, the children of Satan and the children of darkness, they need this for their energy and for their sacrifices and all of that. All right? So we're going to get into this teaching tonight. And all right, hopefully y'all are sharing the video. President Donald Trump is a fighter, and he's fighting for life, and we can appreciate that. Now, I told y'all some weeks ago that I was going to do this, and I couldn't get it because my internet was tripping. But tonight I'm going to get to it. All right, we're here and we're going to do it. All right. I'm very upset because I was supposed to have been driving the motorcade for the president when he comes here Tuesday. He's going to be in Tucson, Arizona on Tuesday. And I was supposed to be one of the people who drove and picked him up at the airport. And I may not have been driving him, but it was somebody with his staff who had flown with him here. So that's been foiled. But I'm glad the president is okay. All right. I was supposed to have been driving in the motorcade, and I got some passes to be backstage with the president. And I was going to get a chance to meet him, take some pictures, show y'all that I was with the president, President Donald Trump. Donald Trump, as we say here. And okay, so let's get into the teaching. I just want to share some quick verses with you. I don't plan on being here all night. I just want to share something very quick. And I want to show y'all that there's something in the blood. There's a voice. It's almost like the black box recorder in the airplane. And in the blood of every human being, there is a voice. There's a voice that speaks to God. If you've been murdered or killed, martyred or any of that, your blood is going to speak to God. I want to show you this in Genesis chapter 4, verses 9 and 10. Genesis chapter 4, verse 9 and 10. And it says, he says, and the Lord said unto Cain, where is thy brother Abel, thy brother? And he said, I know not, am I my brother's keeper? And he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. The blood, the voice of the blood from Abel, who was murdered, cried unto God. And that's the same thing that happens when innocent blood is taken in this world. The blood cries out to God for vengeance, and the blood points out the murderer. And it's God's job then to allow the spirit of vengeance to be loosed in that area until the murder is solved. Okay. Genesis chapter 9. Verses 5 and 6. Genesis chapter 9, verses 5 and 6. All right? And it says, surely your blood of your lives will I require. At the hand of every beast will I require it, and at the hand of man, And I will require it at the hand of man, the hand of every man's brother will I require the life of his blood. Whosoever sheddeth a man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of God was he made. You see? So, when a person is killed, when someone is murdered, their blood cries to God because God put life or a voice in the blood. And there's no such thing as an unsolved murder, except for here in the land, unless we can find it. But in heaven, God already knows that the person was murdered and who the murderer was. But he leaves the solving of the murder up to us. We have to stop it. And I'm going to show y'all that in a minute. All right? In Numbers chapter 35, I want you to look at verse 15 through verse 20. And God allowed them to set up cities of refuge. It's called a city of refuge. And the cities of refuge spoke spiritually to us, those of us who were guilty of sin, that we can run to a place where the spirit of vengeance couldn't get us. God gave us a place of refuge. Although all of us were born into sin, we were all guilty. But God gave us cities of refuge whereby death couldn't get us. So in Numbers chapter 35, there's cases for, in case, let's say, there's two men out axing a tree and chopping down trees, and the axe fall off the axe head, and it kills the man that he's with. God doesn't want him to die. He doesn't, because he's innocent of it. He didn't do it in malice. So he allows him to go to the city of refuge, and he's supposed to stay there for at least until the high priest dies, and then he can come out, and the person who is supposed to avenge that death is not supposed to touch him. All right? He said, but if a person kills a person or slays another man willfully with malice in his heart, well, then the person who is nearest to kin to the person that was killed can avenge that death, and the spirit of violence gets in the heart of that family member, and they go and kill the murderer. All right? So, with that said, in Deuteronomy chapter 30, Deuteronomy chapter 21, I want to show you something. I want to show you why we should not allow abortions in our land. We should not support it. We should not be with it, because it's going to release violence and vengeance on this land. And you'll look in all cities where there's high numbers of abortions, there's always high numbers of violence. New York City, LA, Chicago, Atlanta, where there's high populations of blacks, and there's purposely planted Planned Parenting, which represents murder and abortion. Okay? And so when there is an unsolved murder, there is a spirit of violence released into the area that's closest to the murder. And I'm going to show y'all this here in Deuteronomy chapter 21. We're going to read it together, all right? And I want you to see this. All right? Okay, so, all right, Deuteronomy chapter 21, starting at verse 1. All right? And if one be found slain in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee to possess it, if you find it lying in the field, and it be not known who hath slain him. In other words, we don't know who committed the murder. They found a body out in the field, and nobody knows who killed it. All right? That's what it says. Then thy elders and thy judges shall come forth, and they shall measure unto the city which are round about and of him that is slain. And it shall be that the city that is next unto the slain man, even the elders of that city, shall take an heifer which hath not been wrought with or drawn the yoke, And the elders of that city shall bring down the heather to the rough valley, which is neither eared or sown, and shall strike off the heifer's neck in the valley. And the priests, the sons of the Levi, shall come near for them and say unto the Lord, hath chosen to minister before him. All right, let's see here. All right. And the elders of the city that are next unto the slain man shall wash their hands over the heifer that is beheaded in the valley. And they shall answer and say, our hands have not slain this innocent blood, neither have our eyes seen it. Okay. When there is an unsolved murder, like abortion, it's unsolved because the people who do it are getting away with murder. And here in America, we have up to 1 million murders. I'm talking about with the babies slain a year. So that's 1 million unsolved murders. And as we can see, God is very serious because he knows what's happening in the spirit realm and we don't. He knows that the spirit of vengeance is released in these cities, and the cities that are nearest unto the body, as you can see this with the body that was found. He said, I want the elders and the judges of the city that's nearest to this body. I want y'all to come out and measure and see which city is nearest to the body. And that city is going to be responsible for the death until they can come and get me a heifer. Now, a heifer. This is a female. This is a female cow. And I tell people all the time that there's levels of sin and certain sacrifices for sin. This is an unknown sin. And the people in the city were not guilty of it, and they didn't find out who did it. So therefore, you don't need a male, which is needed for stronger sacrifices. I want you to get a female because no one knows who did it, but at the same time, killing this sacrifice, killing this heifer, is going to stop the spirit of violence from spreading in those cities. Now, what's stopping the spirit of vengeance in our cities where all of these abortions are taking place? Because the churches are not pleading the blood and the churches are not asking for forgiveness. You understand? There's a couple of things that happen in this thing. God said, I want you to take a heifer. I want you to get a heifer. I want you to bring it out to a valley in a rough place, right? A place that had not been eared. I don't want it to look like it's been sown or neat or nothing like that. This is a wonderful picture of what Jesus had to do. He came down from heaven and gave his life in a rough valley. The world itself is a rough valley. And it's filled with sin and violence and murders and all that kind of stuff. And Jesus Christ gave his life in a rough valley. He was the heifer who gave his life for us. And the elders of the city were to wash their hands over the heifer as though the heifer had taken the guilt away from them. And they washed their hands over his head and said, we are not guilty of this. This is why I'm glad that we have President Donald Trump, who is fighting to get rid of this abortion stuff out of the land. Because the reason you see the violence, the reason you see the murders and the cold-blooded murders, I've shown y'all videos on my channel of a dude just going up to another dude and just blasting his head off. That's the spirit of violence. And abortion releases that in cities. Okay? And the people that are pushing this and peddling this, these people are very spiritually astute. I'm not saying they're righteous because the Democrats, they worship other gods. But they know what a blood sacrifice could do. They know the power of blood sacrifices. They know what's happening in the spirit realm. And when the children of the Lord, those of us who should be wise to these things, we're not wise to it. He says everybody have their rights. Well, if we give everybody their rights, well, then the murderers are going to want their rights. The pedophiles are going to want their rights. You know, all kinds of stuff, all kinds of wickedness. And we've got to set things as a normal. And abortion is not normal. It's not. There's no way it is. So the way we stop this is that we've got to stop funding it. We got to stop voting for people who are pushing for abortion rights. See, because these people are fighting, they're fighting tooth and nail to make sure that that woman, Barrett, who's a devout Catholic, and that's what they're trying to fight her against. They're trying to fight her on the fact that she is a devout Catholic. When is that a problem? It's a problem because it's going to come against their abortion stuff, their major satanic plans. Okay? So, that's what I wanted to share with y'all. The spirit of vengeance and the spirit of violence is released when unsolved murders go on being unsolved. And just like with Cain, when he killed Abel, when he killed his brother, the voice of the blood was released from his body. And the Bible says that the mouth of the earth has opened its mouth and swallowed thy brother's blood. And the earth is testifying against the murderers. And the voice is testifying against the murderers. And God himself is testifying against the murderers. And the way this would happen, would happen is that if a person killed a person in the Old Testament time, one of the family members of the person who was murdered was to go out and seek vengeance on that murderer. Well, that's not a law today. But people do it. And then there's also a spirit that gets into the heart of people, friends, gangs, family members, you know, and they'll go out and they'll just keep killing, and it'll be a cycle. And it'll be a cycle of violence. Your family, my family, their family, and it goes on and on and on until the murderers pay the price. And then the spirit of violence is ceased. But when you look at Democrat-ran cities, they don't want to stop the violence. They don't want the violence to stop because they want death for the people. You understand? They want people to die. And this is why we got to stop the spirit of vengeance. But anyway, I just wanted to share that. I had to go to a meeting tonight. I have to be there at 8 o'clock, and I started out a little late. But I want to thank y'all for tarrying with me and being patient and allowing me to share this little quick teaching with you tonight. God bless you. And I'll see y'all on the next video. I'll do something tomorrow. All right, God bless.